Hello, everyone, on this wonderful Thursday. It is April 9th, and 2 weeks passed, and it did take us another 2 weeks to watch a whole new movie. We're just so slow at this, but we're trying. We watched a really old school thinker, and it's called Do the Right Thing. Right at the gate, I'll let you know. It covers some real life issues. So if you like your safe space, um, you got to be able to think outside your own experiences to enjoy this one, guys. But I watched it. I got Louis here that watched it.
I agree.
Dabney watched it.
I sure did.
Goose is here, and he had watched it.
Yep. Makes me
Blood
hungry for
Panther
pizza.
is here on time. Little jab there.
Yeah, and I watched it too.
Um, yeah, this movie, and I know it's raining in GTA, but this movie was a scorcher because it was so hot. It was made you to just think about the hotness in the summer and being on the hot block. Um, I did choose this movie. I there's a lot of reasons I chose this, but I love movies that kind of last in the same area and are kind of like in the same day or two. So you have Do the Right Thing, you have Clerks, Friday, Held Up, um, Die Hard, like all these movies I just enjoy because of the space, and it feels like you don't really miss anything, and you get a good sense of everything going on from all angles. But this was directed by and written by and acted by Spike Lee, 1989. I guess you could call it a bottle movie because it happens in the same spot. But I hate bottle episodes. I love my TV shows to show me things, not just bottles. But yeah, I've seen this movie a few times, and I'm sure Mr. Plow, who I forgot to call out, has seen it a few times. Thanks for joining, Plow. Yeah, so it. I'll just lay it out. It's about a block in Brooklyn. It's really, really hot. Everyone's got their own thing going on, and you just have overlapping tensions and personalities, and stuff plays out. I'll just leave it open. Who? Well, okay, no, I won't leave it open. Bloody. This was your first time seeing it. Blood Panther.
Yes, it was.
You hadn't seen it like on TV, like just clips, or you haven't seen any memes, and it was just
No,
like
I've never seen anything about this movie, so I had no idea what it was about,
that's
and I
interesting.
was very surprised by it on how it went. I like I said in the chat that I was struggling at first because it was a very slow burning movie, and we can talk about that. But yeah, when it about an hour in, it things start shifting. One of the characters. What is this? John
Mookie.
Tortorio?
John,
Danny
When he starts-
Aiello was the pizza owner, and then
Yeah,
Turturro
Sal.
was his son.
Sal
one of his
Turturro,
sons.
and
Yeah, John
when
Turturro.
he started
Pino.
expressing his disdain for the neighborhood in his colorful language, that
and he
it
started to
was-
get in Sal's ear. Yeah, that's a good note because when that and we're kind of skipping ahead, but when
We are.
it started, when it got to there, I was like, this, I noticed a tone shift. Let me guess, and I checked the timeline. It was exactly in the middle of the movie, so it was
Yeah.
kind of planned,
So
and
definitely the first part was definitely doing a good job of just building character development for everybody, and that's what I'm wondering if that's what Spike Lee really wanted, was just
I think so.
to build this layer of what is to happen later in the movie.
And it's described as like a pressure cooker of different things that builds up.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll let someone else jump in. But let's keep it at Mookie, and he wants to get his money. He wakes up, he thinks about his money, right? He's just a normal guy trying to work hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
works delivering pizza for Sal's Pizza.
Spike Lee is Mookie. I mean, also my first time to see it too, and it really felt like a stage play, honestly. I mean,
It did. I was thinking that. Yeah.
had the feeling of like, Rent or something, in that way that like it was filmed, in some of the way that like it was. I don't know. I thought he did a very good job of capturing like a stage play, if you will, with all of his actors, and how he framed the shots and how the dialogues played out in various places. So just kind of a little meta commentary right out front. But yeah, no, Sal's Pizza, Mookie, someone else go.
I'll jump in. I've seen the movie several times. I saw it first probably when I was in college, way back in the early 90s. I missed it in the theater. I remember seeing it playing in my local theater, and I did not catch it, but my brother turned me on to School Days, Spike Lee's previous film, and I really liked that, and I saw this, and I actually in college became kind of obsessed with Spike Lee, particularly his first
Nice.
5 films. I just thought are just all amazing pieces of work. So big fan of this one. I watched it again. I'd seen it a couple times, but I watched it again a few years back, probably 2020, 2021, after the Black Lives Matter movement had become a big thing, and was just struck by how timely it kind of sadly continues to be, 30 plus years later.
It's timeless. Racism is timeless.
The only thing that's changed is that there's more white people living in Bed-Stuyvesant now. Bedford-Stuyvesant, that is. I actually know a lot of trivia about the movie because I did read up a lot of it about it at the time, because I've always found it fascinating. But yes, I mean, the premise is a block of Bedford-Stuyvesant, which is where Spike Lee grew up in Brooklyn. The idea is the different tensions that are occurring, but it is the hottest day of the year. And his idea was he was looking at some real events that happened, and just thinking about how much worse some of these things could have been if you combined that with the added tension that comes when it's very, very, very hot outside. And there's a lot of real life kinds of things do bleed into it as far as specific events. I won't get too far ahead. Obviously, but it really does come across as something that is very personal. That is where he grew up. It's his sister plays his sister. His father wrote the score. His father's a musician, or was a musician. He's passed now. So it's a very family affair. It's costumes by Ruthie Carter, who inspired my daughter to want to go into costume design.
Nice.
After seeing an exhibit of her work. A lot of people who worked on this are people who Spike went to NYU with. Ernest Dickerson photographed it. Ernest Dickerson is a brilliant cinematographer.
I heard he discovered
director.
Rosie Perez, at a dance club, right? And this was her first movie. This was her debut.
He was hosting a party, and he saw her supposedly dancing on a speaker. And he said, "Hey, get down from there. I don't want you to get hurt. You're going to get sued." And she copped some attitude, and he was like, "I have got to put her in the movie." And,
if you can go off like that, then I can give you direction.
He released a kind of combination screenplay and production diary he released as a book, which I don't think I have my copy of anymore. If I do, it's hidden away in the attic somewhere. But he talks about how he just had it after seeing her dance. He just was like, "That's how I want to open my movie, is with her dancing."
And what a badass opening!
And she's
just getting down,
Yes.
And it is Public Enemy, and right off the bat,
Sam Jackson, the power as the DJ.
You mentioned the heat, the
Public
constant
Enemy.
heat in this movie. The heat is a character. The heat is more than a device. It is an active, nuisance on the block.
Palpable.
Yeah, and from the start of the scene, throughout the whole movie, throughout the whole movie, they used the warm color temperatures. Every
right.
shot is just looks hot. It has a hot.
reds.
Even if there's like a cold temperature like scene, they fill it with like someone wearing red in the middle. So it was really cool to kind of observe that.
Scene with the three guys where the heat is literally it's making the air shimmer.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that scene where? And I don't know, like this movie is hard to kind of pin down a direct plot and a direct bad guy, good guy, and it's by design. Because if you haven't seen, like listeners, if you haven't seen the movie, each person in this film has their own life, has their own background. They have good attributes and bad attributes. And anytime someone seems like a cool person, they do something like heelish. And anytime someone seems kind of off, they do something redeemable. I think there was a good balance in that, and it showed like, I'll say it again, like overlapping tensions and personalities. It showed how they clash and how it could start things. So a lot of this movie is just kind of laying out how the block is, who's there, and how everyone's being affected by the heat and other what's the word?
Elements,
conflicts. Yeah, just living.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't have a plot per se. It is very much a day in the life of a community, and it just so happens that because of certain things that happen through that day, certain events ensue. But yeah, there's not a story, and it is. I think what's great about the movie is it is nuanced. It does not demonize any character. You can sit there, and I presume we will, and debate all day long about the different actions of different characters and how they contributed to the climax. But it's I've always just been a huge fan of this movie. I just think it's really and didn't win any Oscars.
It felt like a day in the life of Mookie. Again, stage play kind of style. So they really, like you said, went out of their way to show everybody having depth and everybody having kind of a characterization of their own. Whether it was their country of origin in some cases to what their cousin's doing or what they're feeling, right? Like there was what was it, the Wayans brothers that were just like 3-bit characters that were just in the background, a part of the scene, just being characters the whole time and never really had any quote unquote relevance to the plot. But boy, they brought stuff.
It was also
they were in the back. I didn't realize that. I was like, is that them?
It was also Martin Lawrence's debut, apparently.
I do not remember them.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember.
Martin Lawrence, he's of course
is
plays
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, he has that lisp.
Another guy who's a comedian. I recognize the tall guy.
Shall we go through some of the characters just to?
Well, Sweet Dick Willie, go.
What are your thoughts on Sweet Dick Willie?
We have again, in just drawing out the character of the street, we have the three guys who hang out on the street under the little umbrella.
The old heads. Yeah, Sweet Dick Willie. And there's a guy with the accent.
One guy.
Perfect background.
Different country of origin.
You have ML, Sweet Dick Willie, and I forget the other guy's name. Played by, of course, Frankie Faison.
Honestly, I kind of saw them as almost the Greek chorus, like in the classic sense of a play, right? Where they're kind of just talking shit about everything going on around them the whole time. Always got some opinion, but they're there as kind of almost the spirit of the block, if you will.
They were the eyes of the block. Ossie Davis, I felt, was the heart of the block.
Are you talking about the three guys?
Mayor.
The three guys. So Ossie Davis plays the mayor, not the mayor. The mayor, important. And who is, of course, the local older drunk.
But he really didn't drink that much.
It's just he is intoxicated. Basically,
yeah, and in that heat, like he just needs a beer
all day long, dude. He sent that kid into
beer all day long. Yeah,
he sent the kid into a convenience store.
Yeah, but did he ever get that? I was wondering, did he ever get that drink?
Yeah, we only see him
Yes,
drink
get a
one
lot.
from sweeping, right?
Stumbling drunkenly, and he acknowledges his drinking
Mhm.
In the
problem.
next scene, when he shows up, he's got a Coors, the
Oh,
can
okay.
that he
Yeah.
asked for out of the shop. So yeah,
Okay.
there's a continuity thing going on in the background there.
Yeah, but yeah,
The
he's
scene in the
presumed
bodega,
always
he's-
drunk and dirty, and
Hollering about his Miller High Life, and
Yep.
yeah,
it's a hell of a thing to ask a man to taste
where the
a
high
beer.
life at? Where the high life at?
I
He's like
relate. It's
freaking out.
Tasty
Change,
beer.
And
Okay.
then kind of the
asking a man to
corresponding
change his beers, asking a like that.
corresponding to him, you had the female elder, mother
Yes,
sister,
mother sister.
Yes, yeah.
played by the great Ruby D.
Ruby D.
Is she
who's
still
also,
alive?
of course, no, she and Ozzy are both gone. And they were, of course, married to each other when this
I did not know that.
was made.
Oh, word.
Yep, they were married for a long time. But yeah,
Mother
they both
Abigail.
passed at this point. Yes, amongst so many things.
I will mention
Um,
the radio host, the Samuel Jackson. He's another element that I love in
Mr.
movies.
Senor Love Daddy.
Yes, so dude, like I can name them off, but even just like the Warriors or the most recent Stranger Things season, anytime there's a like a narrator or that's a radio host that kind of connects everyone, I love that because it's like everyone's doing their own thing on the block. They can be at their home or with other people, but they're all like just connected and listening to the same thing and up to date. You know, like
Yep.
there's another element I like.
Dude was shouting out Sal's Pizza while he was getting a delivery the whole time, right? Like that is local.
Right.
That is very, very local.
He's like, here's my boy Mookie, or like, he's watching the people play in the water in front of him with the fire hydrants. And the blocks laid out where like it was Sal's, across the street was a green place, and then to the left of that was the Old Heads. And then if you go
felt
out
like
to
you got to
Sal's
know
and
the
take a
neighborhood.
right, that's where the
Yes.
radio station is.
There's
there's
some nice
also-
scenes where you see the characters, in each other's backgrounds.
Yeah.
Where like Mookie comes out, you see the old guys, and then you see Radio Raheem passing, and
Yep.
it does just
Yep.
give it that nice sense.
Yeah, it's a
In fact, that
great
happened a
world
lot.
building.
Yes.
In the background, in almost every scene, there was somebody from a different set of scenes kind of doing their thing in the background the entire time. Again, very much felt stage play in that sense of like keep everything moving in the visual way that everyone can
Ooh,
kind of
yeah,
see.
keep
right?
everything moving. Yep. I like that.
Radio Raheem, played by the late great Bill Nunn.
I mean, the looming in that by that character was well done with the camera angles and things too. Like they really tried to sell the
Yes.
this guy's scary. Look at him with his big
Physical
old boombox
presence, yeah.
intimidating everybody. Yeah,
Yes. And yes, kids, that's called a boom box.
with the cassette tape in it.
It's a portable portable tape player, and it uses a
Christ.
shit ton of batteries.
Shit. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
whole little
20.
scene
20
about that.
motherfucking D's.
Motherfucking.
Nice Victrola you got there.
Oh my gosh, I love Radio Raheem, and I love Bill Nunn. So,
Yeah.
um,
And opposite of him is Giancarlo Esposito, bugging out. Who
bugging out.
kind of incites the like kind of plot point one is this guy at Sal's having a pizza and kind of being problematic the whole time. Like, because he's
Yes.
arguing over cheese, not cheese, the cost, and just kind of giving the owner a hard time. To be fair, Sal's also a dick, but
Only to
You know,
that
and he
guy.
goes
He
over-
was really nice to a bunch of other people.
Yeah. Sal's,
the thing about Sal is he goes between. Sometimes
He
within a
vacillates.
scene, being really
Yep.
sentimental and
Yeah.
I'm so proud of
Yeah.
what I've accomplished.
But his roots can be
here,"
exposed, but he does a
and
good
then it's
job
like,
of
yeah,
taming
fuck
it.
you.
Yeah,
And
Sal's
it doesn't take much
interesting.
to push his button.
Sounds like a combination of his two sons. His two sons pull him either which way, and he's usually pretty temperamental. But when he gets pushed and his roots come out, yeah, it's very interesting because it just shows like no one's perfect, but it's just the decisions you make in life. What you do with it.
Danny Aiello had an argument with Spike Lee about the character.
It was supposed to be
Because,
Robert De Niro, by the way. I don't know if you mentioned that. And I think he won something for this role, right? If it wasn't an Oscar, Best Supporting for
He was
something.
nominated.
Nominated, okay.
It only received 2 nominations. It received a nomination for Danny Aiello, and I think it got I can't remember what the second nomination was, but it didn't win any of them. And Spike didn't get any nomination despite it, and famously lost to Driving Miss Daisy.
I'm sure that was controversial.
It certainly
was
for
really
Spike.
controversial in
He's
certain
not
circles.
gotten over it. But
Yeah.
But Danny Aiello, he did supposedly offer it to De Niro, and De Niro turned it down.
He said it was too similar to the stuff he's been playing, right? Well, that was at least
Right.
his excuse. Yeah.
But the argument that they had about the character was Danny was like, well, Sal's not a racist, and Spike was like, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Sal's a racist.
Yeah, he was written. Yeah, he's just,
He's like, no, he's not. It's like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and like he loves the community, but when he's exposed and triggered, like it just comes out. Like it doesn't shame anything, any of the good things he's done. It just shows that he has depth and he has things to work on. Like nobody's perfect.
I will say one of the subplots I had forgotten about since I'd seen it last was the weird way he is smitten with Jade.
Yeah, I wanted to get into,
Sister.
but that's a later in the movie thing. I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's fine to mention it. It doesn't expose any of the overarching plot. It's just more character development.
Since there's not much of a plot, I don't know how much.
That's true.
How much it hurts.
Like he was like infatuated with her.
He's like, your eyes are great. Yeah, I don't know.
He said, you have the biggest eyes I've ever seen. Is that weird? She's like, no, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then Mookie gets upset.
I would also say that it's not necessarily that he's infatuated with her in a romantic way.
I don't know that it's romantic in the sense that he expects anything to come of it. I think he is smitten by her as just, and she is portrayed very differently from most of the other characters.
She had an important line in the movie, but it's kind of it's later on in the plot. But she was kind of like the centerpiece of just good, I guess. Like she brought out the good in people. She brought out the good in Sal. She didn't really interact with Sal's older son. He was kind of the more hardened, the more hardened racist. Like he was done with it. Yeah, John Turturro.
Yeah. I love him in this. He fully commits to,
He full sends that hard R, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he does, and it's the movie kind of hinges on him not having any hesitation to really lean into it.
Just pointing out,
and I think he does. I think he does a hell of a job. Obviously, Spike thought so too. He worked with him a few.
He's like, I gotta say the word. I gotta say the word. That's what he'd say the whole time during casting.
Oh yeah.
And I love Richard Edson as Vito, the other son.
Yeah, Vito.
Is, we also know from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Also, to be fair, I don't think that the hard R, was something that people worried as much about back then. I mean, I certainly grew up in a racially charged area, and in the late 80s and early 90s, the hard R came with like every other discussion about racial relations in some way.
I don't know what you mean by hard R.
My white neighbors where I grew up. Leave the N-word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we just say the N-word?
Not the outward?
Because
what does that even mean?
Because it's differentiating between that and like the more common cultural use that a lot of black folk use it as, right?
Okay.
Like the hard R is the difference between
what do you mean by
common
that,
language
Goose?
versus an insult.
Oh, okay.
I'm not qualified to explain, so I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I'm not trying. I'm not going to white explain that one anymore. But I'm just letting you know that's what I was told is the thing you kind of pay attention to on that.
Yes, that's why I'm not a fan with. Like I know some people are used to using the word and it is their culture, and that's undeniable, and I can't take that from people, and I can't be a part of that culture because it's just not in the cards. But when we have a public forum and a public group, I just think if you're trying to convey something and we have to stop and say, "Can you say that? Are you qualified?" Blah blah blah. It's just a distraction. So I don't want to get off the rails too much, but in public spaces, it's just you're gonna ruffle feathers if you talk like you did back home in any culture, and you're not going to get your point across. It's going to be a distraction. In this movie, it didn't stick out. Like it just everyone it was a part of the culture of the block. Like it didn't really irk me in any way. There were a lot more outrageous things in the movie to freak out about than just language, but everyone in this movie had good things and bad things. The before we get to the middle of the movie, is there anything important in the first half of the plot that we're gonna miss? Like we know that.
Yeah. So the one thing I thought was interesting was they open up the fire hydrant, and the kids are playing and all, and they get that guy soaked. Then the cops show up, and it's interesting because they'll come back later in the movie. But I was like, hey, those cops were all okay with it. They just told the guy to buzz off. Like, dude, you should have been fucking driving. Like, turn around, go to a different road.
Yeah, they kind of were doing their thing, and they're like, it's their block, and you were like, you kind of knew, but.
So I think that there's a reality, there's a perception. And again, it's where Spike is often more nuanced than he's, I think, given credit for, which is the perception that, cops are just wanting to go around and be racist. The reality is that most of the time the cops are wanting to maintain the peace.
Yeah.
For them,
less work for them if it's peaceful.
Less work, right. So so in that situation, they just didn't care. They're like, what? They don't want to chase anyone down. They don't want to do paperwork. They just want to, so he threatens them and says, don't do this again.
Yeah,
and they go on,
it's a hot ass day. Yeah,
because they don't care is the truth, and it's more that they're indifferent than that they're outwardly hostile. That doesn't change the fact, of course, of what their behaviors are later in the film. But again, they're and I have a lot of thoughts on that I'll wait for later. But yeah, I think I think from their perspective, it was just, what the hell do you want? You drove past the kids with the thing. You shouldn't have. Who is it? What do you want me to do here? So
yeah, you want me to arrest everybody?
Yeah.
Like buzz off, dude.
By the way, Frank Vincent, who was recommended for the role by Martin Scorsese.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's one of his guys. He pops up a lot in his shit.
he could be a pissed off wealthy man.
Had taught at NYU when Spike was there.
Oh.
So he had been an instructor of his, yeah. Sorry. Like I said, I know way too much trivia about this movie. I spent a lot of time reading about it back in the day.
And then the pivotal scene, which really kind of kicks off the second half of the movie. One of the neighborhood guys goes into the
Bloody.
joint.
Sorry, real quick, Bloody.
I was going to say, before you do that, talk about that one guy at the beginning of the movie that wanted the black people representation, Smiley. We never mentioned that. Like he just keeps popping up in the movie.
Yes.
Trying to get people to Boy Scout. Okay, so now you can go. I think.
Yeah, he's trying to sell photos of black heroes, and he has a speech impediment.
Not originally in the script as a character. He was added very last minute.
Huh.
And he was full Simple Jack. Like he went full dumbass like with that role.
He did.
All right, Louis, painting up the next key point.
So Giancarlo Esposito's character goes into the pizza place, and he's angry because there's pictures of Italian Americans all over the wall, Sinatra, Rocky Balboa, and such. And he's like, why aren't there any black people on the wall? And and that's what really kicks things off. Well, it's my place. I'll put up who I want. Well,
yeah, Italian Americans only.
This is our place too. Yeah, and that is kind of the spark that eventually turns into.
Yeah, his name's Bugging Out, right? So Bugging Out's like, I'm gonna boycott you because you don't have black people on your wall, which is a good move, But we'll get into how that plays out. He storms out.
Bugging Out in the glasses.
Yeah, Bugging Out.
Golly, that guy. That character was
he's got heart.
In my mind.
He's got heart. He's just a bit misdirected, but
I know I've known lots of guys. I've known not a lot, but I've known guys like that. I feel like most of us probably.
He's just getting worked up. He's,
Yeah.
he's,
yeah, he needs something to
Calm
do.
down,
Like he's
Jerry,
got.
it's fine.
So
I think that every character in this movie is an archetype of a character, right? Like they very much are these days at least kind of modern archetypes of different sorts of people, especially in the black community. So didn't mean to go
especially
in there.
those.
I've been really thinking about like the. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought. Sorry.
I'm thinking about this like a stage play, and all of my perceptions of the movie really came from that, that stemmed from that play. So please continue.
Yeah, no, the way it's shot was definitely stage play-esque, the way people entered and exited scenes.
Also the monologues, just POV camera style.
Dude,
where they're going
yeah.
through.
Yeah, I was wondering what you guys thought of. He does take a few times break out of the narrative to have people directly addressing the camera. He there's a few stylistic.
It's like he takes the character out of the moment to just put them in their thoughts there. I'm sure there's a more
it's the few times where
way.
he's clearly making a point.
Mm-hmm.
Right, especially
like where they go on the tirade about the with all the racist terms.
The
with
racist
various
tirades,
characters.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Every group of people got their representation on that one too, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, hateful equally. Like everyone has got a vent. So, the shot when the mayor and mother's sister were going at it, it was like when they first had contention dialogue. They had the point of view and like from the other looking at each other, but it was crooked. Like that was crazy for me. Like it's such a subtle thing, but he tilted the shot, and it was just like unaligned because they're just like yelling at each other like it's chaos, and it was a subtle thing I really enjoyed. Yeah.
If you notice, they use kind of like that same angle throughout the whole movie, like the different angles.
Right, the Dutch angles.
Yep.
With those characters.
These were like more like point, like I'm looking as the mayor up at her, but it's all crooked.
Right. The camera is a skew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. The Radio Raheem's Knuckles.
That scene.
Love and hate.
That was from another film. That was borrowed. Do you know what it was from?
Hunter. I do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum. He's got it tattooed on his fingers. Love on one
classic of film noir.
And it's basically the same speech, but without some of the vernacular, the updated vernacular. And it is a classic. And by the way, super highly recommend as a classic film.
Also, after seeing that, I'm pretty sure I feel like Poltergeist 2's main villain, Reverend Kane, was based on that character. Is my thought. There's this scene where Mitchum's walking up to the house because he plays a preacher. Mm-hmm. He's dressed in, he's got the hat and all that, and here comes evil walking up. But that's another movie.
Terrific movie though. Anyway, yeah, I just like that scene. How the way the camera slides into the point of view. But yes, it breaks you from the naturalism of a lot of the film.
I liked it. I thought it was bold. It was kind of refreshing in a way to you're hearing this interior monologue or thought. I had never seen anything like that before. I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really courageous cinematography decisions.
Yeah. Spike can pull it off. I'm glad you're not seeing too much of that.
I think we're at the middle when I noticed my timeline and the mood changed, as Bloody was saying. It's kind of when John Turturro's character kind of gets in Mookie's ear saying, they're going back and forth like, what's John Turturro's character? What's his name? Pino? So Pino, like Mookie's like, hey Pino, you use this N-word or like for a lot of people. You call us the N-word, you call them the N-word. But, when you talk about people you like, what do you say, Magic Johnson or Scottie Pippen, like all these black celebrities, like they're just people. Like there's no difference. And he's like, yeah, there's a difference. And They just
It's
kind of have
different.
like,
It's different. He says.
yeah, he's different. It just is like you can't really explain it, and he's kind of like being exposed for his like prejudices, like his prejudgments of people, and it goes into this whole scene of what Goose was saying. They just look at the camera, they just vent about something that's bothering them, and they talk shit about someone's race, but everyone gets it equally. Everyone dishes it out equally, and then my fucking buddy Samuel Jackson, what's his name, Dabney?
Mr. Senor Love Daddy.
Mr. Senior and Love Daddy. He's just like kind of
Cool
interrupts.
it.
He's like, "Whoa, cool it, like because he knows like these are people with natural aggressions, and they're just kind of letting it play into make believe now because they're getting off the rails. Like, yeah, you may be pissed at that person, but that doesn't make everybody that person. But that doesn't mean that you know exactly what's going on. Chill the fuck out.
Got
So
to chill.
this is also a
Listen,
point where
please.
you see Pino kind of getting his brother and father's ear. Sal is his dad. He's saying, look,
Daddy,
hey,
Papa.
he's like,
I
I'm your
like
brother.
these people.
Mookie's not your brother. He's gonna stab us in the back. He tells Sal, his father, like, I don't like it. I just can't be here. I don't like these people, the community. But Sal's like, we're nothing without this community. We're here to stay. We're a facet
Exactly.
of it.
I've seen him raised.
Yeah, I've seen these people grow up from babies. Like,
Great scene.
I love these people. Sal's is here to stay, and so that kind of really aligns people to see what they want, where they're going, and the
But
tone
also-
changed because it kind of showed the overt racism within Pino's character, whereas before this, it was just people's microaggressions kind of showing.
It was the systematic racism versus the explicit racism of the
Yeah,
son.
and in the Pino's defense, like, he could defend everybody in this movie. In Pino's defense, if he got out of there and did what he wanted, maybe he wants to go be a dancer. Maybe he wouldn't have all this pent up like bullshit in him, So he was kind of
I
trapped in a
agree.
way, but he made the decision to use that for hate. Like, he didn't convert it like to something positive.
But Brad, I think it's fair to suggest that while he is obviously effective, he's racist, that his anger is about his situation more than it is about
Exactly, yeah.
specifically hating
He's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta be a
Right.
star,
He
whatever
just
he wants to
hates his
do.
life.
I want to
And
be a
so-
karate fighter. I don't know what the fuck he wanted. He just didn't want to be there.
But that's the source of his anger and rage and his
Yeah.
terrible behaviors.
He blamed his environment for his problems. And
Yeah.
his
Right.
environment was black people, basically.
And you saw his brother be best friends with the black person, and he tried to poison that. And
I do have to say, though, that scene where Mookie and the youngest brother, whose name is blanking, I'm
Vito.
blanking on again, Vito had flower, areolas on the front of his
did.
shirt that I could not
That's true.
stop looking at. I really tried to take that scene seriously, but it was just like, flower nips!
It's
let me
true.
get that
he
off
did-
for you.
But and yes, Sal does not know what to do with the dough, but it actually was he literally had like 2 or 3 dough balls that he had to work.
Is
all
that when
day of
Mookie was
shooting.
asking for his money early, like a payday early? And
It's
Sal's
like just before they leave, I think. But he's working the same piece of dough and
Yeah.
he just keeps throwing fire. And he's just
And he's
working
just,
the
knuckling
same
it a little
piece.
bit. He's
Dude.
just,
He's
knuckling,
like,
just giving it a little
He's
touch,
just
but it's
practic-
great.
He's
I-
way over flouring it. He's putting
Yeah.
so much flour on it and just keeps spinning it around. He doesn't actually spread it any, and it's because they literally only had they had only prepared them two or three dough balls, and he had to make it work all day.
Yeah, there were 2 different dough balls in 2 different scenes for sure.
Yeah.
That they were just giving the old crust
Yeah.
knuckle there.
It was a low budget movie.
I cracked up when and I think it was ad-lib when Mookie was asking for the money, and Sal's like, I can't do it, and he's like working the dough, and then Mookie is about to leave, and he kind of still looks at Sal, and Sal looks over, and I think this is ad-lib, but he kind of gently says I can't, but he's gingerly pushing
Yeah.
the dough, and he's like, I can't do it. And there's a lot you can't do right now, Sal. You have in trouble.
Mookie is, by the way, the worst fucking employee.
Oh,
He's
he's
a
Oh, yeah, he's
terrible-
always
he
showering,
should be
fucking-
fired. he disappears for so long. He goes and takes a shower in the middle of his shift. He
Yeah.
goes
When
and
he's
tries to
there-
bang his girlfriend in the middle
Thank
of his
God
shift.
for the
and
left
took
nipple.
her call and
Thank
stopped
God
the
for the left
deliveries
The right. Thank God for the right.
because he
nipple.
was talking to her. Oh, we haven't got
Right.
the ice nipples yet. Because he was talking.
We just did. You
Apparently,
missed them.
Rosie Perez felt kind of objectified and
Yes.
ill used by the ice scenes. By the way, when Mookie was
Yes.
being a layabout. So noted
Noted.
that too. Just
Sorry,
wanted to-
Perez. I enjoyed it. It was art.
I think she eventually got over it, but she was
Kinda
not
made
happy
peace
at
with
the
it.
time. Yeah,
think her
the
career
truth
got
is, the
over
way
it.
it's shot, they could have easily used a body double, but
I'm not gonna
wasn't-
lie, I had to go look
again,
it up
was
because I thought they did.
the way it's shot, it looks like it.
It's out of
'cause
frame.
yeah,
Yeah.
her head's completely out of frame. But the thing I read suggested that it was out of frame partly because she was crying.
Do you
but-
think those
Oh.
were real elbows?
Again, low budget movie. I don't think they could afford to. Although they did build.
That was
Sal's.
Mother Sister's
Sal's
elbow.
Did not exist.
Well, it didn't exist afterward either, due
Yeah.
to the third
They
act.
built it on an empty lot.
But yeah, no, Mookie,
So-
horrible fucking employee. He seemed like an okay person, but yeah, he'd
Mhm.
go and get up and get his money. But he also existed as the archetype of kind of like the astrological fool, if you will, right? Like he's just kind of fucking about in his day and expecting everyone to, not even expecting, he's just kind of doing his thing, no matter what, right? Like
Well, it's
little
interesting,
blinders
right, 'cause
on.
he-
He's not very, he's in his own head.
Yeah, I mean, he defines himself as, trying to be the responsible guy who's going out and getting paid, but he's so completely irresponsible in every way.
Yep.
And obviously not much of a father, even though he takes issue with the characterization.
I mean, I get like wanting to wake up and make sure you have money, but you get money to support your family, right? So be there for your kid.
That's typically a big motivator.
So, yeah, we have a good insight on all these characters. It's starting to cool down. It's like half past noon. It's like past the evening probably, and the sun's going down. And the DJ's like going. This is for everybody out there, and you have the scene where it's like it's not a sex scene. It's just like a cool down ice scene with Perez and Mookie and or what's her name, Linda or not Linda, Tina, right?
Tina.
Tina.
Tina and
Don't be
Mookie.
I want my kid to learn English. Don't be speaking.
Yeah, it's bad enough.
He's not
His name's
there, but he
Hector.
expects English. Yeah.
Before we get to the build up and everything, so what is some like? I'll just say if somebody mentioned a character, mention their good qualities and bad qualities. I'll start with. I'll go last. I'll pick up anyone nobody does. But what's the character? Someone just told the character and like give a scene where they were redeemable, and then give a scene where they were kind of heelish.
I'll
Mother
start
sister.
with the mayor.
All right, the mayor.
Where just walking around drunk and yelled at by mother sister, and then I think his character shifts when he saves that little kid.
Which was basically the next scene. Like, we have the ice scene, the Rosie Perez kind of sexy, baby mama scene, and then the ice cream truck comes jingling around the corner, and all the kids get excited and shit, right? Because everything's cooling off, and Samuel L. Jackson's narrating the cool down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one kid runs out in front of a car, almost gets hit, and as Bloody said, gets saved by the mayor. Please
The mayor.
feel free to continue. I just felt like that required context.
Yeah, what's a downward trait of the mayor, Bloody?
What would be a downward trait of him? I mean, he's a high life guy, really.
Mid high life.
He chooses. Yeah, he drinks during the day, and man, he may seem like he. So okay, and it's a good scene. Vito in the very beginning, or his brother, they don't want to sweep the fucking floor. So the mayor comes in and he's like, "I want to work," and Sal loves him. He's like, "Yeah, you do," and he sweeps the fucking floor. And then Vito's mad. Like, why are you mad? He just did something you were too lazy to do, and now he gets to go like have a beer. So that's cool with the mayor, but yeah, he wasn't really productive on his self, his self work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone, Louis, you said mother sister.
Oh yes. Well, I mean, I felt like she was like the respected elder in the neighborhood. Like she saw everything. He would probably go to for counsel. Very well respected. It was a little harsh on the mayor, but what I remember, the antithesis of that is I remember is the end where where things are happening at Sal's and things are going bad, and she was screaming, "Burn it, burn it!" Spoiler. But she was chanting for the destruction of this neighborhood place, this
Yeah, like she
neighborhood
went into like a psychosis.
kitchen. Yeah, and it was actually the mayor that was the calm
Consoling.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turned out to be the voice of reason.
Consoled her.
Right. Well, first she's screaming, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, while she's standing next to Jade. And then just a little bit later, she's screaming, no, no, no. And that's when the mayor comes and pulls her away and presumably takes her home. So yeah, within, like a minute and a half, she goes from burn it down to no, no, no. It's a fascinating thing that they really don't bother to explain it. Like they didn't say, gee, why were you saying that?
Well, I think burn it down because she's outraged, and then she's just chanting no because it happened. He's like, Raheem's dead. The
Passion
clock is...
quickly turned to empathy, bloodlust to tears.
Yeah, well, she didn't regret
She
saying
didn't
burn it
much.
down. She's just like, now it's time
Well,
to cry.
she may have. We don't know.
Yeah, true.
I think that all of them, and obviously we haven't discussed the riot yet, but
Yeah.
I think all of them, it's at the end of the day, it's their own neighborhood that was being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that okay. So we can talk about the end of the day where Sal's saying, "Hey, it was a good day for all of us," and called Mookie. He says, "Hey, I'm going to rename it Sal and Sons," and then he turns to Mookie and he goes, "You know what, Mookie? You can always work here, even though you're a piece of shit employee."
The family. He called him family.
He said, "You're like a son
You're
to me."
always
He
like a
said
son
those
to
words.
me.
Yeah.
And so
He actually said
basically,
it.
I mean,
Which makes sense given that we've met Pino and Vito.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
And so, like, now this pizza shop is essentially named after Sal and Mookie and the other two sons, and I find that interesting.
It is one of those things where it's almost like the setup of like, here's my girl, I'm gonna marry her when I get home. You have the like, oh, look how idyllic everything is, things are great. Hey,
The
open the
foreshadowing.
door for that those last customers.
Yeah,
'cause I
everything's
love them so
perfect, yeah.
much. And it's
well-
just at that moment when he's telling everybody how and of course while he's saying how perfect it is, the camera
Yep.
does that slow motion pan across Vito and Pino and Mookie, and they're all like, what the fuck is this dude going on about?
So yeah, right before the crescendo, Cloud, you have a character to kind of balance on the justice scales.
I guess Radio Raheem.
Yeah.
He gives a nice monologue about his love versus hate thing, that was
Yeah.
pretty good. Kind of maybe he has like a deep capacity for the thought and like spiritual balance or something like that, So that's kind of good. Bad. He's walking around with the boombox, using it like a sonic
He's a
weapon.
bit imposing. Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. Big dude. Just boom, bumping the same song throughout the entire movie, right?
I only like that song.
Fight the
Yeah.
power.
Question: is Ryder Raheem autistic?
Possibly.
I don't
Quite
feel
possibly,
like I have enough
yeah.
information to make that diagnosis.
They
I
should
just
have asked him about trains, and we would have
But
had
it's-
a solid.
An entirely different movie.
But
Yeah.
it's an interesting
Yeah, that's a good
question,
one.
given the that's actually an interesting thought.
Yeah. So Goose character.
You know what? I'm going to bring up the cops, actually, because y'all
Yeah.
had a really good point. Like, these guys, they go through the neighborhood about, I think it's 3 times through the movie. The first time was right behind Mr. Cadillac Man, or whatever the fuck, the guy that, interacted with the block in the fire hydrant and got, drenched by the Pringles can off the fire hydrant. Or whatever that was, right? Like the random food
Yeah,
can.
they shaved out a can for like a tube. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There was that one scene where he's scraping it against the concrete.
They're scraping on the floor, yeah, to make it
remove
into
the
a
sharp
directional.
edges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just take off both ends. Mm-hmm.
And so the first time, like you pointed out, the cops showed up and they act like, obviously, they're Billy Badass big dogs, like, this is my block, ain't nothing right, like that kind of attitude they brought into the scene. But at the same time, their block was being invaded by this rich jackass who's got a very nice car and an entitled attitude, and like, my guy, you drove in front of the fire hydrant. What did you expect? Right? It was a dumb move on that guy's part. At the same time, you could tell there was a very deep level, and especially like in the 80s of New York City cops, there's pretty famously racist in a lot of instances that Spike Lee is, kind of pointing out through his storytelling here. So the very next scene, what is it? Midday, the sun's directly overhead, everyone's wiping sweat off their face and panting and just hot as fuck right before the ice scenes and stuff, right? And they come rolling through, and you just get like this one shot of panning past them, and they're both, cop glasses, arm out the window, staring at the camera. Like, it's a very, almost...
Yeah, it was that
directly
one
at
guy
you.
staring at Sweet Dick Willie, and Sweet Dick Willie's just nodding like, I see you, motherfucker.
And his friends are also like, yeah, but this is also our neighborhood, and fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was very much that kind of feel to the scene, which, again, love the Greek chorus there, love those guys. But the third scene, we haven't quite gotten to that plot point yet, but, the next time they interact with the community, it's a very quick, violent, like, interaction.
Reactionary.
Very reactionary, right? Exactly, and it's. I mean, George Floyd fucking protests to a T, kind of an example of police brutality and violence. I mean, literally, he couldn't breathe, down he goes.
The chokehold was very specifically based on incidents that happened in New York around that time.
Yeah. With the nightstick was the leverage on that, which
I
makes
forget
it so
the name
deadly.
of the guy who was killed with that chokehold, but it was very specifically based.
Spike showed him lifted off the ground, like you could see his knife.
Yeah, that's when shit got real.
As he was being choked
That's when
to
shit
death.
got real, yeah. When he saw
Yeah,
the
and
That was a heavy scene.
like a hanged man's feet dancing kind of a moment
yeah.
there with that scene too. Like, there was no fucking.
All right, I know we're itching for it. I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way. So I'll just a little small scene when Bugged Out was on the street, and then he got his sneakers all scratched up by a bicyclist, and he followed the bicyclist, and he was going up his stoop. He's like, "Hey man, blah blah blah, you got my sneaks." So he's sorry. Then he gets surrounded by Bugged Out gets surrounded by his friends, and so now Bugging Out showing off, talking shit, and his friends are hyping him up. And I'd say the white guy with the bike, I'd say he has good quality. He's taking care of himself. He has a good place. He probably pays his bills. He's living a good life. I think the bad quality is he didn't even say sorry. He just kept going. He
says sorry when it's pointed out to him.
Yeah, when he's like, "Oh, sorry," like it's no big deal. Like,
He was very sweaty.
Not like, "Hey, this is," he didn't even have a conversation. He's just like, "Hey, I got to get inside." Sorry, it happens. Like, he just kind of like didn't pay in the time of day. So, not only was Bugged Out kind of disrespected, he was also told that it doesn't matter how he felt. It doesn't matter that it was an injustice, even though it was his shoes. It's a really small thing. So I think the overarching plot or theme
with tax.
What's up?
He paid $108 with tax.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Money. That's like $3,000 today. I'm exaggerating only slightly.
And now they look raggedy. No, but so like the overall theme I think of this is personal space. Like, everyone's out there, they have their own introverted thoughts and things they do, but when you're out there and you're interacting, it's like almost a dance or like a handshake you do with people. Like, I'm out in this street no one owns the street, but we have to respect each other. Like you're
A
playing your
silent
music
pact of
now,
social
sure,
etiquette.
and like Ritter Raheem playing his music, like it, yeah, it's kind of a nuisance, but he's no different than someone playing the music loud and driving by. And because it's just like a driving by kind of thing, and then he's gone. But then later on, he actually uses the music as like a weapon of some sorts, and we'll get to that.
Was
But
the was the
mhm.
Cuban guys, Puerto Rican guys? I'm sorry, I missed the flag reference and couldn't quite tell. But
I believe they're Puerto Rican.
Thank you. I didn't want to be too insensitive there, but like his boombox battle with the Puerto Rican guys,
Mhm.
which I guess was the same building that Rosie Perez's character, Hector, and all of them were in too, right?
Yeah, they had the battle, and then he kind of turned it down, like, "All right, you're louder, you get it." But they weren't really beefing; they were just kind of like, it's like,
He was
they were,
asserting dominance.
yeah, it was like that when they
He
spin the
pulled out his
dreidels, like
dick
they,
and pissed on their shoes.
Except not really, because they'd get mad about the shoe piss.
That's right. Don't mess with the shoes.
No, Spike speaks in metaphors.
hmm it's like, it was a really good thing in this movie. People tend to act out and overstep their boundaries, but it's just like, are they doing it out of hate, or are they just doing it because it's a hot day and they're stressed, stuff like that. There's this phenomena called Sonder. It's the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and as complex as your own. Everyone has loved, everyone has lost, everyone's doing something for a reason. They're in a shit mood for a reason. They're in a good mood for a reason. You just don't know. But you're also not going to spend a whole day or a whole week to understand that. So you just got to respect people, what they're doing, and keep moving. But when you start affecting other people, and we'll talk about Reddy Raheem, like, and the whole build up when they went in. So it was okay. So we'll repeat the build up. It was a great day at Sal's. He's counting the money. He's saying thank you, Mookie, your family. There's some lokes around trying to get through the door. Sal's like, let him in. We'll do some pieces of pie. We'll give him some slices, but that's it. And then they let him in, and behind them comes bugged out Raheem and Smiley, who kind of, they line him up and they shoot him in the scene, kind of like a wall of like contention. And what they're doing is not a boycott. Like that's just an occupation. They get in there, they demand this, demand that. Rita Raheem's playing his music. He's focusing his music. He's not just walking around. He's like, he's using it as a nuisance and a weapon. And, I throughout this episode, I said people have good reasons and bad reasons. Like I can show compassion for those three guys. They have good motivations. It's just they chose to convert their microaggressions and their anxieties into something negative. Right before Bugged Out gathered those people, what was Mookie's sister's name? Jade?
Jade.
Jade? She said she wasn't down for the boycott because she's like, I like to do something positive for the community. The boycott's kind of negative, and all of that, and especially the way he was describing it. He was like, I like to just do something positive out there.
It's like the language of grievance.
She's like the centerpiece of positivity in this movie. Just the way she brings out goodness in others. And I'm in favor of a boycott. If enough people start not going to Sal's, and this goes to every private business, if enough people start not to go, then Sal's either going to change and put some black people on the wall, or they're going to get another restaurant, and Sal's going to get, he's not going to pay his bills, and he's going to leave. That's like, that's America. So I think a boycott would have been smart. It would have maybe worked, but
why did he have to? That's my thing.
He doesn't. He doesn't have to.
He's proud of his thing that he's built longer than that kid has been around. Mm-hmm. I felt like up until this point, those two, the boombox guy and Smiley, or whatever his name is, I felt like they were just really acting entitled. Like, I'm going to play my music wherever I want. I don't care if it's in private residence. And then the other guy is expecting, well, you need to do this to represent this. He's like, no. Like, throughout the movie, he's like, I raised these people on my pizza. I've done all this with, So I could understand where he was coming from.
Yeah.
Going, why should I have to when
And
this
that's
is
the conflict, right? Like,
yeah.
this is my business, but he's like, this is my neighborhood. So the way a boycott should work is it should apply pressure, and Sal either would have to change or he'll be stubborn and have less customers. Like, it's just
Ideally, yeah,
So-
but as someone who lived in a small neighborhood, boycotts, that shit doesn't work on that scale, because Sal's is probably the only joint in the neighborhood where you can get something to eat.
Yep.
Like, people
So-
they're just not gonna stop going there. Like, and a lot of people love. We had a guy in my neighborhood, not a Sal, but and one guy might be pissed and ranting and raving, but at the end of the day, everybody's going there to get a beer or a sandwich or a lotto.
Can I just make an argument on this side? Because
I'll allow it.
Thank you. So, first of all, it's totally true. As a business owner, you get to decide, what's on the walls of your business. It's also true that as customers, you can decide whether or not you want to give your custom to that business. But and it's true that it is very entitled to walk into somebody's business and be like, I'm allowed to play my music as loud as I want, and I'm the one who gets to decide what's on the walls. But the other side of it in this particular case, that I think ML is who's the older of the three corner guys. They give him the part to explain, and he points out there's essentially two businesses that we see on the street.
Mm-hmm. Korean.
Only two. One owned by Koreans and one owned by Italian American. There are no black-owned businesses in their street. They do not have control of their own neighborhood economically. They don't have any influence because it's owned by these other people who show a fair bit of disdain to them and are happy to take their money. And
Literally only Mookie.
At the time that this movie was made, I mean, since then, I think there's been, progress as far as bringing attention to the issue of, the importance of, black-owned communities and, black-owned business in black communities. But there really weren't, and a lot of the tensions that occurred were based on the fact that, that a lot of the grocery stores or corner stores in black communities were owned by Koreans because they would go and they wanted to open there. There were other businesses, and there's I think not an unfair argument to debate about whether these were the people who were providing services that otherwise weren't provided. But also were kind of exploiting in the fact that they would come in. They didn't live in the neighborhood. We hear all about how Sal and his kids don't live in the neighborhood, but they come in. They sell pizza. They make money. He decorates the place. It's his Italian pizzeria, and so in that sense, there's a powerlessness that was a really profound issue. Again, very based on reality that this was dealing with. That I think you have to add into that mix. And so they're not just responding to the specifics. They're not just responding to a picture of Frank Sinatra on that specific wall. You've got a community that the economy of the community they don't have any control over. And I just think that's an important thing that Spike was putting in there as far as that. And I think that's why, again, there's the whole scene where the guy goes, I'm going to lay it out for you. And they're like, lay it out. He goes, he makes this big introduction.
You're going to pick it up when I'm digging up, man.
This to you so you can understand this. And he's doing that for the audience because he's explaining this important thing, which is that, there's this sense of, why he's like, why he said they're either geniuses or we're really stupid because they've only been in the whole country for a year and they've already got a business, and for some reason none of us do. So.
But first off, they made it clear that the Koreans were black.
I'm black.
They
I'm
made it
black.
clear that the Korean didn't want his fucking store to be burned down.
That was it. That was it right there.
I am with
The
you.
Korean
I would
was
disagree.
making the argument. So if I can go, if you'll indulge me a little bit more.
Go ahead.
Spike Lee is obviously a big fan of Malcolm X. Malcolm X in his autobiography tells a story about how before he became Malcolm X that he worked in a clothing store for a Jewish guy who had a clothing store in his black neighborhood. And there were no black-owned clothing stores, and so he worked and the Jewish guy who ran it was like, oh, you and me were the same. The Jews were the N-words of the world, for thousands of years. So it's all the same. And important. And Malcolm X talks about how he explained this to the guy who taught him about Islam. And he said, no, that guy was exploiting us. He was making money off of us. He was, Spike read that book too, is what I'm saying. I think that those are, again, I think yes, there's that sense of all minorities, sometimes being like, yeah, we're all the same. But there were specific institutional things that happened. Oh, by the way, there's a scene. I was watching some of the deleted scenes of the movie. There's a lengthier version of the last scene between Sal and Mookie.
With the money, yeah.
Yeah, with the money, that great scene, where he says, oh, I don't have insurance. I couldn't get an insurance company to cover this place.
Oh, yeah.
Of where he was, So,
Damn.
Yeah.
Did anybody else watch the movie?
But that's interesting.
I saw it growing up years ago. No.
I'm going on mute.
It was
all right.
Yeah, we're at the no, it's meant for that discussion. Like, where's the line? Who was right? Who was wrong? And it's always going to be a mix of the answer, and it's always going to be in compromise. After
People
the
are gonna be
crescendo
people.
and everything, you're meant to just sit there, not knowing who to root for, and just in shock with a pit in your gut. So we are at the end of the movie where, after they come in and they quote boycott, which is really just, we're going to stand in your store and look at you until you change, kind of thing. Sal lost it. He was pushed. He had his racist roots kind of exposed, and he just started beating up on Radio Raheem's radio, killed it, and shit just happened fast. Like, there was a fight.
The fight spills into the street.
Yeah, the cops come. They back Sal off, make sure he's okay. They grab Radio Raheem by the neck, which was kind of disproportionate. But the cop that grabbed him by the neck is the one that was mean mugging Sweet Dick Willie. That kind of felt like he had some deep-rooted racial tension. So,
there's an implication, definitely.
And it was like,
he's also Danny Aiello's son, so I'm just saying.
It was like when stuff happens,
No shit.
he was either opportunist, like, oh, now I can choke out this guy, because fuck him, or he was just, opportunist, like, in the fact that I've been waiting for this, or I don't know. It could have been subconscious, or it could have been something he just wanted to act on. But he grabs Rita Raheem, and the fight's over, but he still chokes him out. it shows Raheem's feet being lifted off the air with the other cops saying, what does he say? Like, stop, let him down,
Yeah,
let him down.
he tells them enough. He
Yeah,
says
enough. And then Raheem dies and he falls on the ground and he gets kicked on. And they're saying, stop faking, stop faking. He's just dead. And they throw him back in the car. They take Bug out, right? And then it's just gone. Like, all that happened within 4 minutes, and they saw Raider Raheem die. Like, and it's just like, yeah, you're on your own now. Like, here's the block back. So Mookie, who is otherwise kind of level-headed, even though he's a bad employee, he just says, fuck it, like, that's not right. And he just acts out of emotion, and he throws a trash can through Sal's door, or a window. And that just triggers a riot. And it doesn't, you thought it was over, but he just keeps going. The whole block's disheveled. They burn down Sal's. Cops come back. Firemen come, put out the fire, turn the whole hose on people on the block for rioting. Yeah. And then, it's just not good. It just devolves. And it was, you kind of, in retrospect, it's like, well, it was all building up. It was a powder keg. It was a crock pot it was a pressure cooker of just heat and people's emotions and differences. So I guess my take on the huge riot was people can control themselves, but when it's time when shit pops off, they just instantly act by emotion. And that's what we need to avoid in life. Because if you don't talk it, like, Sal wasn't really true with himself. He didn't talk about his racism out loud. Like, if he did, maybe he would have been able to control it when he got heated.
I don't think he even realized it.
Yeah, that's true. Like, maybe if Mookie had that conversation with Sal, it would have gone different, by that jukebox.
Self-awareness would have went a long way for every character, almost every character in this movie.
Yeah, because you want to act with what you have inside you, and you don't really you don't have the third-person view of how would this look and how would this affect my surroundings. So, I mean, shit, guys, this movie, there's no right answer. It says do the right thing, and it leaves you thinking what's the right thing.
Well, the right answer is definitely don't use that chokehold. The chokehold is banned, but it does still sometimes get used, is my understanding.
The mayor did make sure that he did say, like you heard in the middle of the beginning of the movie, he says, Mookie, now make sure you always do the right thing.
Also, I remember at the beginning of the day when Sal opens a pizza shop, they were talking about how hot it is, and he's like, I'm going to kill somebody today.
He does.
And, well, he didn't do it, but he was involved in...
He was the cause of a death, though. I think.
Well, no, I don't know. I would not say he was the cause of the death.
Well, let me retrace or reframe that and say he was the catalyst in a death. And he absolutely was a catalyst.
He was one of many catalysts, I feel.
They were all participants in the...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was a powder keg.
He killed the radio. I just killed your fucking radio.
But also, everybody is at fault to a degree in this picture, with the exception of maybe Jade.
Jade's blameless, and I'll fist fight anybody that says otherwise.
She represents the innocence.
Her hat was kind of fucked up, but that's another thing.
You gonna crush on her too and talk about her eyes?
No.
Still not convinced that was
going to say that Sal, like, there's always been a weird line between like paternalistic figures and like young vulnerable ladies in these kinds of stories.
That's what I mean. Yes, what Goose said. I felt more almost kind of like paternalistic. Yeah. Like,
it was paternalistic,
if I had a daughter, I wish she was like you, kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a subtext of, if he were drunk, he might have made a pass. Like, that was kind of what I was getting out of it, right? Like, that there was a... again, too,
That's not what I got out of it.
Well, maybe not, because he did say earlier, he's seen these people grow up, but also he was a little blushy, complimentary, like he was a little twittipated acting, and I think that was intentional by Aiello, like the actor. Not to say that he was planning on acting on it. This wasn't like a fucking American Beauty situation, but I think that it was meant to imply a certain tension within Sal about the situation. Does that make sense?
I think Sal's been spending a lot of time in a black neighborhood, and here's a very pretty young black woman. Her speech style and her presentation style is very different from all the other characters in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just thinks it's probably a little bright part of his day to have her come in.
Oh, sure.
And because, again, he is ultimately racist, he might be fetishizing her a little bit. It's hard
Por
to
que
say.
no los dos? That's kind of what I'm getting at here, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he was planning on acting on it or there's any kind of nefarious intention there. I'm just saying that I read the scene as being really complex.
Yes, I did too. I agree with you.
But at the same time, I didn't feel like there was a lot of complexity between him and Mookie. Because by the time that, we get that last scene regarding Mookie gonna get that money versus this defeated business owner who just saw his livelihood go up in flames due to a brash moment of his that, that he's blaming himself for, it's pretty obvious. Like, you can see a lot of, like, kind of self. Well, in his posture and kind of his tone, he sounds defeated, and it feels a little like
It's
he's
wrong
trying to
tone.
feel. He's taking his part of the blame, I guess, is what I feel like I'm getting out of that.
It's a weird scene. I love that scene. There's two scenes between him and Mookie that I just really enjoy. There's that one, of course, is the showstopper where he's so angry at him, and yet he does have this obvious affection for him.
Because he's
Yeah,
like,
it
you're like a
felt like
son,
he was
and then
broken
Mookie
hearted.
throws a thing to his
It's not like
window.
that thought just disappeared from his brain, and yet he's so angry with him because. But of course, he's a fiery guy who's got pain in the ass son, so it's being angry at his son isn't a weird thing. But there's also the scene where Mookie comes back after he had his extended little visit with Tina. And he starts making excuses like, oh, you're going to make me go all these stairs. And he's like, I didn't say anything, Mookie. He obviously knows he was up to something. And he's just like, what, you feeling guilty, Mookie? It's actually just a really charming scene. I like.
Yeah, because you knew.
You just see the relationships in some of these little scenes where they're just very, again, naturalistic that are kind of my favorite scenes. There's also a great, we talk about the, was it Thank God for Elbows and stuff like that scene, but after that, where he's getting ready to leave, and the shot is just one close up on their mouths, and he's just kind of they're being playful with each other, and he keeps kissing her because he doesn't really want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a great fucking scene.
There were a lot of great scenes in this movie, and then it ended, and it kind of left you thinking, like, what the hell happened? What did I just see? It's the kind of movie that stays with you. It sticks on your mind. You conversate about it. It's a thinker. That's what I like about this movie.
Yep, no true villains, no true heroes. It's all a mix, and you're supposed to think, and I don't know, like, I would say apply it to your own life, but just apply it to your own thoughts. Like, I mean, it's such a weird movie because there's a lot of morals, but you can't pick one that is consistent throughout the whole movie because it shows an array of the human condition.
I feel like Spike summed it up perfectly just with the title.
Yeah, do the right thing. And it ends on two quotes. It ends on a quote from Malcolm X and a quote from MLK. Malcolm X is saying violence is needed to protect yourself, and MLK is saying never violence, always love. But, that's the love-hate on Raider Raheem's Knuckles. MLK and Malcolm X. I don't think he was calling his hand love or his other hand hate. I just think he was saying that's what the hands have to deal with. You can you can deflect hate, one, and you can work with love with the other. But when you put them together, that's the trick. You gotta somehow convert hate and deflect it towards love. And that really hit me hard, like the rings on this finger and just those quotes at the end. But yeah, my voice is giving out. I wanted everybody to get their final thoughts in.
Thank you, RFK.
I'm okay, the RFK. My worm needs to be fed. My worm's acting up.
Final thoughts? Summations? I feel like this is a movie that everybody should see. Maybe you like it, maybe you won't. But it's going to make you think about
You're not
things
human unless
and
you see it,
yourself.
I think.
Yeah, it's one of those
It's a
movies
human
you
condition.
should- yes, exactly. So that's my final thought on it. Check it out. Go to Blockbuster.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks, everyone. If no one has anything else to say, well, maybe I can vamp a little bit and say things like, well, let's see, because I might have a list of who's next.
Well, I mean, I can, as a first-time watcher of it, I do want to say though, like, I don't know if I've ever seen a Spike Lee movie. Now that I think about it, and I really, it took me a while to get into the movie, but then when there was that shift in the middle of the movie, towards the anger of the black community, I started really poking my head up. I stopped watching my phone or doing whatever I was doing at the time, and really kind of focused. And that's where I really kind of like about this movie, is that Spike Lee did a slow burn, and did a slow burn in a way that, like, I didn't know if I was gonna like it. I thought this was gonna be a boring movie throughout, and I really started, the more I kept watching it, the less I was looking at my device or being distracted. I was like, really, I'm really interested. Okay. Then I noticed I went to the restroom halfway through the movie, and I heard something. I was like, wait a minute, I missed a scene. So I backed up, and I rewatched the scene a couple times. I was like, oh. And so the more I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a really good one-day story that Spike Lee's telling.
Every scene kind of had a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Bloody, quick question. How many Fast and the Furious movies have you seen? No, that's seriously.
I mean, maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
If you like this,
I've watched probably Tokyo Drift more times than I should say.
Spike Lee has done a few.
Welcome to your first Spike Lee joint.
Yeah,
If you like this, you might like Summer of Sam. It's almost the same, but instead of the heat being instead of the heat, no, let me finish. Instead of the heat being a constant nuisance,
right.
there's
Let
a
him go.
murderer that
He's
listens
right.
to his dog.
Okay.
But it's high. It's summertime. The neighborhood is on edge. It's that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's on the
I hear
block.
what you're
What's
saying.
going on? But there's a murderer.
I'm
And-
not getting the reference. What is Fast and the Furious have to do with Spike Lee?
He's
Didn't
just
he
making
direct
fun
the
of you,
fourth
I
one?
think. He did not.
You might have to check that on Siri.
I think it's a good
John
case study. If
Singleton,
someone
he's a
spent,
totally different black filmmaker.
how many people have
No.
seen all the Fast and the Furious movies and 0 Spike Lee movies? That's kind of like on separate spectrums.
That's
Separate
a
side of the
valid
spectrum.
question. I wish I had thought of that.
I guess
Well-
I wasn't getting you making fun of me, but yeah.
I didn't realize I was, but apparently they're saying I am.
Yeah, we're all throwing everyone in front of the bus tonight. Everybody gets a little bit of that.
Speaking
No
of
one
throwing
better.
under
I don't
the
want
bus,
anyone to pick Fast and the Furious. I would have to watch all of them to feel complete.
Do you remember?
And I don't
when-
wanna do
when,
that.
do you remember when last time Louis was saying how he thought that the Wachowskis kind of came up with the whole idea of woke and waking up and all that?
No, it's not what I said. I said it got introduced into prevalent vernacular. I did not think that they invented the term woke.
Let's run it back. Hashtag watch the stream.
What the opening line of this movie is?
Again, I'll allow it. Proceed.
The
Opening line.
So the opening line of this movie, which is actually the final line of Spike Lee's previous film, is "Wake up."
Wake up.
He starts it with him telling you, "Wake up, wake up."
Well, he ripped
And
it
if
off from Vanilla Sky.
And if you haven't seen School Days, which is also a lot of fun, is a musical. It ends with Lawrence Fishburne exhorting the audience to wake up.
Wake up, yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, speaking of other movies, Plow, you're next. I'll let you think on it, or once it in the stream, you can drop it on us. But everyone, thanks for joining, and thanks for listening. And we're gonna talk a bunch and watch some movies again. Maybe I'll remember to record next time.
Yeah, until next